Hello everyone, in this video we'll be seeing what bounce lettering is and few tips on how to get the bounces right and keep it balanced, and also we'll be seeing each individual letter, how to bounce them and then put it together in a word, and in the end we'll put it together as a quote. So that's the agenda for this video. Also, at the end of this video, if you like my content, do click on the like button and do feel free to subscribe to my channel for more lettering content. Alright, so let's get started on bounce letters. To practice your bounce letters, you will need brush pens. I'm using current markers here, and I have taken a normal sheet of paper, and this is a 70 GSM A4 size sheet, and also I have placed a guideline below just to help get consistent bounces. Alright. As a beginner, when I tried bounce letters, I felt that this is bounce lettering, where I tried to bounce the entire word, but it is not that. It's just that here probably I gave a curvy and bouncy guideline and I tried to fit that word in, but this is not what bounce is. So in bounce lettering, what we try to do is we try to fluctuate with the letters. So I pull this stroke down, pull this up, pull this down. So this is how we are going to create a bounce in the letters. And yeah, so this video is about that. We can also alter the size of each letter to get the bouncy effect. So yeah, let's see how we bounce each letter from A to Z. So generally we would not bounce vowels. Mainly it is because we would like to maintain the balance in your words and in your quotes. So here I am not bouncing the A. I'll leave it as it is. So in case you try to bounce your A, you will extend this and it will start to look like a Q, which you would not want to. Right, and for B, I'm gonna pull this down a little. Yeah, so this is where our baseline is, and this is the X height, and this is the top line. So you can see that I pulled down the B's downstroke a little to give the bouncy effect. There's nothing much you can do with a C, but when you use it in a quote, you can alter the height and get it to bounce. And for a D, again, I'm pulling this down, and usually I would like to keep the bounce to a particular length, like this is all. I would like to bounce it up to this level. So yeah, I usually maintain that across all of my letters. Again, for a vowel, I'm not bouncing it as well. And for an F, you can alter the height for an F. And for the G, you can play around with, for G's and F's and E's, it depends on your word, on what you'd like to do with it. And for the H, step here, and I'm bouncing this curve right here. And we can't do much about it. J as well. So here you will kind of get an idea of which letters you can bounce and which you cannot. Okay. And for the K, I usually like to bounce this part. Can be bounced this way. And for the L, again, the L can be bounced, this portion can be bounced. And for M, there are various ways of bouncing M. I usually do it this way. And for the N, you can pull this up and pull it down. So yeah, here you can either pull this down as well, it's your choice, but I like to bounce it over here and as well as over here. Alright, now for O, nothing much you can do. Again, for P, I like to bounce this portion. Again, depending on the word, I can choose to keep it normal or bounce it again. And Q also, nothing much you can do. So usually R also you can sweep it down over here. S as well. S is something you can increase the height and decrease it based on your word to create a bounce effect. T also I can pull it down below the baseline, and U as well. And there's nothing much you can do with a V, but yeah. Again, based on the height, you can play around with it. Alright, so now for a W, I will pull this down, and yeah, so this portion, I'm bouncing it off here. And for X, you can bounce the X this way, and like that. This portion can be bounced, and then you can bounce the Y. And nothing much to do but the blank. Okay, so these are different ways you can bounce each letter. So certain things to note here would be, the first thing I mentioned was not to bounce an A, but if you try to bounce it, it will start looking like a Q, so which is something you may want to avoid. There are two ways of bouncing an N. That would be just a normal bounce over here, or like I showed you previously, pull it up here and pull it down here. So yeah, both are two different ways of bouncing an N. Like there are two ways of bouncing a H. One is pull this up and pull it down, or you can also, this is another way of doing a H, but you may not want to bounce it this way. Again, it depends on how the word is, but this H does not look so pleasant, so I would say a no for that. And for letters like R, again, you can do a normal R and pull it down, or you can exaggerate this portion and pull it down. So pulling this up also gives a bounce. But same thing here, you may not want to do an R this way. Same thing, it does not give, it will start giving a wavy effect like I showed you before. So do stay away from this as well. And one more last letter you may have to take care of is an M. So this is one way of lettering and bouncing an M. Or you can just keep it normal and bounce this stroke. Yeah, so these both work fine, but what you shouldn't do is try to bounce the center stroke and pull this up. This will not work, so a no to this as well. Pick this word green. So now let's see which letters we can bounce. So you can bounce the D, you can bounce the R, you may not bounce E and A as well because these are vowels. Again, you can bounce the M, and probably will pull this up too. So preferably we would, suppose you have a bounce on one letter, we would not bounce the next letter. And well, that is how a lot of artists teach bounce lettering, but it depends on, because at times two continuous bounces also look good, but yeah, the bounces shouldn't be on the same level. Alright, here I gave it a little bounce, and now I'm gonna bounce the second letter. So I'm bouncing this a bit deeper than the previous one. And since I would not be bouncing this, I'd like to keep it normal. But again, so you can already see a bounce coming right here. Now if I keep this as well, like on the X height without a bounce, I will be getting two consistent letters without a bounce. So here I will be pulling up the A with a dramatic height than the E, so that there is a variation. Right. And now again, since this is already at this height, I will lower this letter a little, and I will extend over here, and that's it. So you can see how it hasn't got a bounce, both on the lower level as well as the upper level. Alright, so we'll try another word. We'll see which ones we can bounce. Probably I might bounce a little bit of A and a little bit of R as well. We'll see how it goes. As you practice, you'll get a hang of which one to bounce and which ones you should avoid bouncing. So, okay. I'm tilting the H a little to actually give the H a dramatic effect. And I'll keep this in the same level. And again, I will pull the A a bit and a little down. Now since I bounced the A, I do not want to bounce the R again, and there you go, and this goes down. So again, it depends on how you want to bounce the letters. So I am showing you this example because there are two continuous letters where and how do you bounce that? So for that reason, I picked this word. And again, we'll see you can bounce this, you can bounce both the T's and the R. So now usually if you are bouncing two continuous letters, you may want to vary the bounce a little. So here we go. So I will keep this T a little shorter and I'll get this a little lower. And this will continue to be the same for this R, bouncy R. We'll be lettering this quote in a bouncy style, and we'll see how we can bounce and interlock each word and try to make it as pretty as possible. I'll do a rough draft. Preferably it will be better if you can do that so that you can place your letters right. And I'll start the K where there is some space. I hope you get an idea how we are interlocking each word with the gaps in the previous set of words. Now let's do it with the brush pen. Alright, so this is the final look of the bouncy styled quote, and this is the normal one. So you can see how dramatic it looks in comparison to the normal one. So yeah, we have come to an end of this video. So if you like this video, do click on the like button and do subscribe to my channel for more lettering content and tutorials. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching and have a great day ahead.